Hi, welcome to our new learning episode on technical descriptions and definition. Allow me to share my screen. Our lecture today is titled Show and Tell, but definitely this is about technical descriptions and definitions. Because when we say technical descriptions and definition, we need to understand the value of showing. And we need to understand the value of showing, not only showing, but also telling. That means we have to ensure that whatever we show must be understood using a platform that is using a technical platform that is a document. Most cases we could be able to see this in a form of, let us say, an operations manual let us say a particular poster referring to how a machine works, referring to parts, let us say parts of a particular machine that is supposed to be working. Okay, now next, at present at present when we say show and tell, we are referring to descriptors. We are referring to descriptors that are measurable, descriptors that are concrete, descriptors that are realistic. That means something that we can touch or something that we can visualize, something that can help our imagination, or something that we can use to understand it better. No, to understand it better. And then there are several forms in showing and in telling them. It can be in a form of a sentence, it could be in a paragraph, or it can be a part of a particular section or the entire manual in itself. Now, this is an example of mechanism description. Mechanism description is used to describe a tool, a machine, or any other mechanical device. Similar, let us say, to what you see now on the screen. This is a picture of a scissors where parts are identified, are identified. So this is considered our mechanism description. It can also be used in sales or in manufacturing, in design specification or infographics. Those who have backgrounds when it comes to sales, or those who have backgrounds when it comes to design, probably can relate to mechanism description. If you're familiar with um, appliance manual, different appliance manuals, you could be able to see that there are a lot of mechanism descriptions there. More than identifying the parts, let us say, of a fridge, it also provides description on how are we going to take care of the entire appliance, or are we going to clean them, how are we going to deal with identified issues later on. Now, when we are talking about mechanical description, of course, definitely there must be elements that we have to look at. Number one, definition. We have to look at definition of the entire equipment, the entire tool, and definition also of each part. That makes definition a very important element or part of the entire manual, or of the entire mechanical description. Second, the entire file must provide an overview of everything else, similar to what you see here now. This is the Star Trek: The Next Generation technical manual. So this is just like an overview of what can we find inside. No? Next, we have to look at components also, like the parts, explanations of each component, visuals. Definitely we cannot appreciate anything that is mechanical if we could not be able to see it, so we could be able to imagine how it looks like, right? And then we need to have conclusions later on, and of course we shall not forget references is also necessary. Remember, in technical writing, we are supposed to observe continuously the conventions of writing. Next, definition. Definition is far different from description. Okay, definition is far different from description. When we say definition, when we say definition, we have to provide meaning to a particular equipment, or to a particular part of that equipment. And then meaning is associated with context, as is it also as it is also associated with nature, and we have to understand those. And definition may be simple as it may be complex. I remember, I believe that most of you have watched Three Idiots. Three Idiots. There is a scene in the movie that the teacher asked the students about the definition of a machine, and then this one particular student who is identified as the most intelligent in the classroom when it comes to being bookish. He's the top one in the class when it comes to being bookish or being legalistic. No? Being legalistic. He defined machine with much of complexity, with much of technicality. But this particular guy, but on the other hand, one guy in the class defined machine so simple, just just by saying it makes lives of individuals easy, similar to a zipper, similar to a zipper. And he even demonstrated how a zipper is working. So that is what we mean by definition. Now, we also have a process, a concept of a process description. A concept of a process description. This is a process model. If your company um, is audited by um, by a certain licensed organization to become an ISO certified company, then you need to come up with a manual process manual or a process model. And this is how it looks like. A process model or a process manual is designed by a company that is being audited for ISO according to its own processes. And we have to remember that in process description, we have to look at significant events. We have to look at the series of events significantly. And so series of events significantly, and we have to make sure that it will end eventually with an outcome. It will end eventually with a particular result. Now, here's the catch. For every process description, it can be non-instructional as it can be instructional. When we say non-instructional, it would end up like this. But if it is instructional, it will definitely not, it will just show you the entire process, but it will show you how things are done specifically. Okay, how things are done specifically. Now, those are the lessons, topics that we need not to forget when we talk about show and tell, when we talk about technical descriptions and definitions. If you have questions, don't forget to send me an email to these email addresses. Again, thank you very much, and see you in our next learning episode.